Since last April, America decided to impose tariffs on cars from Canada, especially those not serving its interests or competing with its industries. The U.S. officially imposed 25% customs duties on Canadian cars entering the American market. This was a bold move, as the U.S. and Canada have always been partners in the North American economy. Canada faced a tough choice: stay silent and appear weak, or respond and risk a direct clash with America. Surprisingly, Canada immediately fired back, stating America's actions were disrespectful and unfair, promising an equal response. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced Canada would impose a 25% tariff on American cars, but with a smart strategy. These tariffs would only apply to cars not meeting Canadian standards for safety, environment, and reliability. How did Mark Carney, known for his composure, make such a move, risking global tension? How will Trump respond? Are we witnessing the start of a new trade war? Our channel covers global economy insights. Subscribe to dive into the economic story behind these events. America has been following the policy of America First, Trump's slogan, "Make America Great Again." Since Trump's second term, this policy means the U.S. no longer prioritizes the global market. Its focus is protecting its own interests, even if it harms allies like Canada. This led the U.S. to impose tariffs on partners like Canada, China, and the European Union. Their excuse is to protect domestic industries from foreign competition. Instead of cheaper Canadian cars, they say, buy American, even if it's more expensive. This aims to keep local factories running and prevent job losses, but reality is different. American industries face high production costs, outdated technology, and skilled labor shortages. Instead of fixing internal issues, they targeted competitors abroad, starting a clash. Canada's response, tariffs, sent a clear message: enough is enough. Canada aimed to protect its domestic market, especially the automotive sector, which employs thousands. This includes workers in factories, parts manufacturing, and after-sales services. The automotive industry contributes about 19 billion Canadian dollars annually and employs over 130,000 workers. If U.S. tariffs hurt Canadian exports, related industries and jobs would be at risk. This is not just about tariffs, it's an economic and political struggle. The U.S. also eyes taxing electric vehicles and lithium batteries, sectors where Canada aims to lead. Canada's automotive industry contributed $12.5 billion to GDP in 2020 and $14 billion in 2022, employing over 117,200 people in 2020. Manufacturing sales of motor vehicles and parts reached $55.1 billion in 2024, supporting over 603,500 jobs. Ontario is the heart of Canada's automotive industry, producing 100% of its light vehicles. Canada retaliated with 25% tariffs on non-CUSMA-compliant U.S. vehicles and supported affected workers. Despite USMCA, disputes persist, notably on softwood lumber, with U.S. anti-dumping duties. These tensions create financial uncertainty, disrupt trade, and pressure economic growth. Studies suggest tariffs could lower Canada's GDP, a concern echoed by the Bank of Canada. If America targets Canada's clean energy sector, it attacks Canada's future. U.S.-Canada trade relations remain uncertain. Canada must address U.S. concerns and strengthen its policies. By doing so, Canada can assert sovereignty and re-establish its role as a key partner. Canada said no to unfair trade practices, announcing new tariffs as a political statement. Every partnership must be fair, with both sides winning, not one at the other's expense. Behind this bold response was Mark Carney, a key figure and respected economic mind. He served as governor of the Bank of Canada and later the Bank of England, designing national strategies. Carney stated, "Open trade doesn't mean open surrender. We value trade, but not at the cost of our industries." American companies complained loudly after Canada's decision, warning that new tariffs could cost billions due to increased car prices. Higher prices mean fewer sales and potential factory shutdowns, especially with America already facing inflation and layoffs. Experts suggest this could spark a new trade war, similar to the U.S.-China conflict, but now between close allies. This could shake the global market. as the automotive industry is a massive chain with hundreds of suppliers worldwide. Even small disruptions can cause production delays, price increases, and shortages. This has significant implications for the Arab world. Many Arab countries import cars from Canada and the US, meaning a trade war would raise global car prices, delay spare parts, and slow new technology access. Furthermore, Arab countries aiming to enter the electric car industry or start assembly plants could face setbacks if the market becomes unstable. The situation between Canada and the US is a major strategic economic conflict between two highly interconnected economies. Canada is America's second-largest trading partner, and America is Canada's top export market, tying Canada's economy to Washington's mood. If the US sneezes, Canada catches a cold, an uncomfortable position, especially with Donald Trump in the White House, who isn't planning to play nice. Trump approaches politics as a businessman, focusing on numbers and profits, not relationships or alliances. He views Canada as a supplier. If you make me money, we're partners. If not, goodbye. This mindset disrupts companies that have built decades of strong cross-border partnerships. Canada was already negotiating trade updates with the US on steel, aluminum, and energy. They were close to progress, but Trump abruptly walked away, refusing to continue negotiations. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney stated publicly, "Canada will not wait at the White House's doorstep. We are ready to talk anytime, but we won't freeze our progress waiting for America." This meant Canada decided to build its own economy from within, breaking its dependence on the US. Canada provides about 60% of America's aluminum needs, which is essentially stored energy. Producing this aluminum requires energy equivalent to 10 Hoover dams. The US imports ready-made energy, saving its own power. America benefits greatly, also receiving wood, steel, and electricity from Canada. The northeastern US runs on Canadian power. Why would Trump risk this relationship? He seeks concessions and applies pressure, which is his typical approach. Canada is now planning alternatives, with a massive domestic investment plan to build its economy independently. They declared, "We won't wait for America's approval. We're focusing on infrastructure, innovation, energy independence, and new partnerships in Asia and Europe." This plan wasn't a reaction. Canada had been preparing a backup strategy for months. In today's world, nothing is guaranteed. Allies can become rivals. Only interests are permanent. America wants to boost local manufacturing, but breaking alliances with key partners like Canada is problematic. Trump acts from power, while Carney acts from balance. Knowing Canada's resource wealth allows economic redirection. They are protecting domestic strength, building shock resistance to keep the economy stable if trade relationships collapse. Canada is taking a smarter path, strengthening its industrial base, improving energy efficiency, and expanding international trade beyond the US. Canada is diversifying, not putting all its eggs in one basket, which is a mature economic mindset. This is a global pattern. Countries are diversifying trade to protect themselves from volatility. It's about building safeguards, not cutting ties, because no market is guaranteed in today's volatile world. The once rock-solid US-Canada partnership is shaking due to individual political decisions. Canada is responding calmly with real work, smart investment, and strategic independence. This is a turning point, signaling changing global relationships where even close allies can clash when interests shift. Smart nations strengthen themselves to withstand political changes, as only interests are guaranteed. Canada's actions are strategic, not just a reaction. Subscribe to our channel for global economic analysis and forecasts.